think was also important because it's really easy to write us off as just a basketball show. There's like so much work and heart, and everyone came to set really understanding there was a cause bigger than ourselves.
Hi everyone, I'm Jazz Tangcay, Senior Artisans Editor at Variety, and very excited to be here today with the cast of Swagger, which is now streaming on Apple TV's Plus. And welcome to you all for today's SAG-AFTRA Foundation Conversation. What an honor to be here. The cast reunited because you're all over America right now. Hello, welcome, and congratulations on all things.
What's up? What's up? Thank you. Thank you so much for having us. Yes, this is a Swagger reunion. We haven't seen each other in a minute.
How does it feel? How does it feel?
Like, feels good.
There you go.
Yeah.
It feels like a family reunion.
Refreshing.
A digital family reunion.
All right. We'll manifest a real life one soon. But as I said, I want to congratulate you on all things Swagger, because my gosh, what a great season. There is so much to dive into, but what I want to do is really just, take it back to the beginning. Reggie, when we get to season 2, there is this 4-year jump that kicks off the season. Talk about that idea.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually, hold on now, you're throwing me. It was really, it was more like it was like a 2-year jump. It's a 2-year jump,
Sorry,
so,
2.
Yes, yeah. And I mean, a couple of things happened. One is that we were season 1 aired, and we had like a little bit of a time delay just in terms of getting renewed and then getting the scripts. And there's like something that, something with our young cast they decided to do, which is to keep growing. And because of that, I just did not want to play like they were like, 17 and 18. And I didn't want to play them like they were 15 or 16. So we just embraced the fact that it was 2 years later, and it was actually fun. We played them as, we first meet them as like juniors, and then they go in their senior year. And it was so great because thematically what we really wanted to deal with as writers is this sort of rite of passage and coming into adulthood. And that was really what our young cast was doing. So it was just really amazing to hold the mirror up to them.
Yeah. And talk about the growth. What was so great is seeing how all your characters grew between season 1 and season 2, and just the incredible arcs that you had. Crystal, for example, these are such great characters that you're so emotionally invested in. And Quvenzhané, I want to talk to you about, before we go into anything, talk about the series as the concept of the maze, because we don't call them episodes. Like, why is that the preferred terminology? And then talk about Crystal this season and her growth.
I think the best way to explain it for me with the maze is life is literally a maze. You can make one wrong turn, run into a wall, and have to turn around and start all over again. And I mean, I feel like that's beautiful. When Reggie said that, I was like, okay, he's poetic. But no, it's really realistic in the sense that you never know if you're going the right way. And you never know if you're gonna have to turn around and start all over. But for Crystal, her maze was definitely a whirlwind to go through for me. She's definitely strong and powerful, but she didn't let anything that she went through, any downs or trials or tribulations that she went through, change who she was at her core. She stayed strong, she stayed powerful, she stayed outspoken as much as she could. And I'd love to see the growth from season 1 to season 2, to see her kind of shed the darkness, and you kind of get to see her in her light and in her happiness and in her joy.
Yeah. Oh, so amazing. And Isaiah, what about for you? Because, obviously season 1 was like, your first big acting role. You come back to season 2, you've got experience under your belt. Like, talk about your character's growth this season and his journey.
Well, I would say me and Jace, we got to mature together. Season one was a lot of stopping and starting. And as season two, I really got some time to really sit with him and think about, what he needs and his why and, how he's going to get it. And that, just constructed everything I needed to make Jace focused in season two and propel him to, into his integrity, which was, I would say, his strongest, took on a life of its own in season two.
Yeah. Shinelle, I love Jenna. She's moved into the suburbs. She's thriving. What is so great, and I guess this is a testament to Reggie and the writers, is that, she's a wealth, these women are not struggling financially. Like, talk about Jenna this season and just being like this incredible mother and just being there for her son and this character growth that she goes on this season. What was it like to play that?
It was extraordinary. So season one, you see that she's this struggling mom. And then season two, you get to see her arc of like, oh, that was a short time. Like, she has become this successful woman. She's very successful in the Holly-Ann cosmetics. And she finally gets to start dating and having a life of her own. So I personally appreciated that storyline because sometimes people see those kids like, and those families like dead end and there's nowhere to go for them. So it was great to see that she actually has a life. It was great to be, I get a lot of people that come up and they say, I love Jenna. I'm that person, men and women. They're like, I'm that person with the basketball. And I like that she's a single mom because single moms, I grew up with a single mom and they take on the roles of mom and father. I'm from a single mother. Did I say that? Yeah. And so I like that you also don't stay within, that's not her circumstance. She shows you like, that's the situation, but we're not going to sit here and be this. This is not us. You're going to be the champion. My daughter, she goes off to college, she gets them to where they need to go. So it was really fun. And Jenna, she has the gift of the gab. She's a hustler. I liked her selling her products out of the trunk. It really like Jay said, Isaiah said he grew with his character. I think I grew as an artist because Jenna gave me more fire, to speak up. Jenna gave me more confidence. It was nice to be in this leading role because up until that point, I thought I had to gain a role like that, further down in my career. So I'm very appreciative of just having it when I did.
If I can just add, I think that was one of the fun things, though, like to honestly see everybody grow into the characters. One of the fun things with Jenna, which I love that Shinelle did, is really this is a character who in season one was so focused on her kids. And she's still focused on her kids in season two, but really trying to understand what she needs for herself in her own life.
Yeah. Love that. Tristan, what about for you?
Ooh, it was fun playing Alonzo. I think when Reggie first called me to even bring Alonzo to life, I think one of the very first things he's like, now listen, we have this scene at the end of the season. I'm telling you, he's like, there's gonna be really dope stuff throughout the season in season one, but we have this one scene in the last maze. I'm telling you, Tris, we need something strong for this. Like I'm just preparing you now. He's like, it's gonna be a whole long monologue, but I'm preparing you now. And he was even scaring me. You know how they do the whole gas you up to make it seem like it's way bigger and then hit you. He's like, oh, it's gonna be like 10 pages long. But no, but starting to get into the mindset of Alonzo and understanding that the quote unquote anti-hero of it all, it was amazing to play him and to be a guy that you don't want to be on the opposite side of. It was fun.
Well, I think that was also fun hearing you talk about that. Is there's a big challenge for season one, but there's a big challenge for season two that also came in the finale that you had to step up for.
Yes, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So again, in regular Reggie form, he called me while we were on break. He said, "Hey, Tris, I'm in a writing room right now. So we're thinking about this scene at the end of the last maze for this season. We're gonna have your shirt off. Are you cool with that?" I said, yeah, yeah. Let's get it. Let's do it. I started working out that day.
But at least you got the heads up. Like, you didn't just get the script and be like, oh, we're shooting this in 2 days' time.
No, I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. When we got to the last episode, I was like, I didn't know what day it was gonna be. So I literally, for that whole stint, I was like, let's just work out really hard. We're getting close to the last days, guys. Let's just ramp it up. So yeah.
Coach O'Shea, talk about your growth this season.
Well, with season two, I really felt like Ike was a little lost. In the beginning, I'm just in the crowd. I'm not the coach. I have to watch my team, grow on their own. And eventually, obviously, I end up being the coach. And Ike has a lot of internal battles in season two, not only with carrying on his father's legacy, but being a father on his own. The drama that my daughter and my wife have to deal with at the new school. Shout out to Orlando. He's kind of my, I go to battle with him a little bit, and I really like how in season two I was able to kind of dig deep into Ike, not only just yell at kids, but have a lot of internal battles. Sparring with Orlando scene to scene was one of my biggest joys that I got on set. And it was a lot of growing for Ike. It was a lot of coming to peace with letting Jace and the rest of the kids grow on their own, seeing what type of men they grow into. And it was definitely an emotional roller coaster for Ike this season.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Orlando, Emory, like to O'Shea's point, the way they clashed on like their strategies. Like talk about like, shooting those scenes and just having this incredible character that is committed to reaching those goals.
Well, I think first of all, I told y'all Ike was going to be trouble, and that boy was trouble. Maybe not Ike Turner level trouble, but still.
It was an Ike.
It was an Ike, and he was trouble. So I think I proved my point. Emory is an interesting character. I think he obviously represents a lot of different things, particularly in the strive for Black excellence, but I think also in the understanding that life is very much a journey, right? These things that we go on are very, the maze that we're on is very much a journey. Thematically, obviously, Reggie's my favorite writer, and his work is sort of brilliant and layered and really beautiful. So for me, it was really a fun hit my mark and say my lines and fall into a character that I think I shared some background with, in that I'm a coach's son, and that that fire was definitely fun. I think O'Shea's brilliant. I thought O'Shea's work this season was extraordinary. I think that's true of the entire cast. I was really excited to work with him every day. He's probably one of the funniest people I have ever encountered. So this cast is a love fest. This experience was really magical. And when I think back on my career, I think one of the highlights will certainly be my time on Swagger.
I love that. I want to talk about Maze 5. It is one of the most powerful things on TV we've seen in a long time. You know, there's so many things that this maze actually says about society and life, and this mirror that you have you know, between the characters in this. And Reggie, why don't you set it up and tell us what you wanted to say? And I just want to hear from all of you, like, what it was like seeing this script and seeing, and being a part of this moment.
Sure. And just quickly, I just want to say, just even hearing from everyone, seeing their faces again, even thinking of some of our amazing cast members that aren't here. One of the things that I loved about them, which also like comes through in Maze 205, like not just that they're talented and passionate, but they're so intelligent. The way that they approach character and story and performance. And as I was saying to somebody today, it was like when the season was over, I had a vulnerability hangover because they just brought so much vulnerability to their portrayal. And it allowed us to do something like 205, which was called Are We Free? And Are We Free is a maze where our team, our swagger team, is not they don't know if they're going to be able to continue to play in the league. And so while their sort of future is in jeopardy, Ike decides to take the team and play an exhibition tournament in a youth detention center. And it could go so many different ways, but ultimately what it did is really challenge their perspectives and really we raised the question for the audience of what does it mean, in today to be free.
Yeah. That there is a 12-minute one-shot take. And when we talked about it, you said it was, it's freestyle, right? Nothing, you didn't script the shots. You gave the actors, and the cast, like, just play. Isaiah, talk about your experience shooting that sequence, and just again, like, the importance of this episode. Sorry, this maze.
That 12-minute take. I mean, I think we ran it about, I want to say
10 times. 10 takes.
10 take.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like Reggie was calling us up for that gift because we earned that. We really bonded together in the gym and became teammates in a way that was like we already knew where each other was at on the floor. We had chemistry. We had passes for each other. We had code names and nicknames, from even 23, not being in the game. And once we got there, he kind of passed us the mic, and it was just, we were living in every moment of that game, and we just try to be prolific on the basketball side. I personally really wanted to make basketball, feel like kung fu, feel like a very cerebral game where you're seeing him constantly make decisions and make somebody else's back foot step back and create space for himself, and just play the game as he, similar to how he plays life, which is just fearless. And I just appreciate Rock for putting me in that position. But we also have just so much talent on the floor out there, which made it just extremely fun to play. Nick Mendez, he's also like a captain for us, and the show just, once we got in that prison game, the show, it got grounded in this basketball game, just the way basketball kind of grounds us in our regular lives when we just shoot around and dribble with a kid 5 years old. you know, 30s, 60 years old. It just like, it bonded us, and we didn't really even have to act.
Ball is life.
Ball is like, if I could just add one thing to clarify, there was choreography. We have there was a group of folks from Game Change Films, an amazing trainer named Reggie Wallace. So we definitely had choreography. But what was really amazing, even more important than the basketball, was that there were character things going on. It was like it's basically like if an actor is doing a monologue, you have to have like the same exact approach. We just added a physicality with it. So, that was the part of the challenge with Swagger is we don't have any basketball games where you're just seeing a basketball. It's really what's going on inside the characters. And one of the things that was so great about the cast, and why we did this game all in one shot, while we did wanted to do something cinematically we had seen before, the other great thing is it just really highlighted this theme of freedom and what it means. And so the challenge was, how do we do a basketball game that reflects the theme of Are We Free?
If I could add one more thing, something that Reggie likes to do is throw these little challenges at us. Whether it's me and Isaiah making 10 consecutive free throws while doing our lines, or them playing this whole game in one take in 2:05. And I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to pretend like it's cool. It's annoying, It's a lot of unnecessary pressure that goes into my psyche. It unaligns my chakra. But what it really means is we have a director that knows you can do it. They trust you. He knows that we have it in us. And so he would never put something in front of us that we can't do. And Reggie finds a way to push us to get to excellence. And, some things that might seem unconventional and annoying, but he knows we can do it. He knows we can knock it out. And it is really great to have somebody in your corner who's calling the shots like that, who knows that you can be great and pushes you to be that way. So I want to thank you, Reggie, and that's the only compliment you get in this whole time.
I would like to add to what Reggie puts. He puts out this energy that the truth is we did have a lot of stops and starts between season 1 and season 2, but it's the energy that's on set that makes us fall right back into it. Since the beginning, these once children that became young adults, he had them and the coaches in the gym when they weren't on set. He had an acting coach on set. So that, for me, who didn't need the acting coach, I had that at my fingertips. I could go to the gym. I was like, oh, they in their body. Let me be in my body. So it's like that challenge that this director, these people around you, that it calls something different out of you. So you have these athletes, when it gets to 2:05, they are ready to work. And then the new young adults that are working with them, they fall in line. And that speaks volumes. That's what I like about acting. It's not just acting. We take our real life and we come and we put everything out there. And when I watch them, it's I had a point, and O'Shea was talking about he was annoyed. Like, Reggie does walk up to you and be like, I bet you can't do this. And it's like, well,
right.
Let me show him. Yeah. When you get to 2:05, even the crew, like we have someone on the rollerblades and they're like following them. It's like choreography. They're dancing with them because even they have to like do the work as well. Like him on some rollerblades, following these kids, and he rarely got pushed when I would watch them. It was just this dynamic that I had never seen before. And I feel like it bleeds over to your acting. Like it actually makes you a better beast. So like the crew were even like just watching with a different concentration. So I think SAG-AFTRA, anybody watching this, they should know that these young adults, even the coaches, like they lived and breathed this like the entire time we were on the set. That's what
I love that. No, I love that. O'Shea, I want to come back to something that you said, the challenges that Reggie threw at you. So I want to hear from all of you. And Quvenzhané, I'm going to start with you. What challenges did Reggie throw at you, and how did you overcome this? To Shinelle's point of like, this is it's actors watching.
Basketball in general was a challenge for me because I'm not a natural born basketball player. I hold my hands up to it. So I was one of those people that was in the gym when I was on set, off set, especially season 1 was even before we started filming, I was in the gym. So that was a challenge for me. And one of the first challenges Reggie gave me was actually at my audition, which was to try to do push-ups on a basketball. And I feel like he knew from everything prior to that I was not a basketball player, but he also knew everything prior to that I was going to try and I was going to do it. I didn't care about if I can't even do 3 push-ups. I was still going to try my mic to get a good 5 in and be like, what you think?
Yeah, you held it down. I mean, just the athletic mindset that you brought to the character of Crystal, which is so amazing to see. And I mean, we're seeing so much in the women's game right now, and just really loved how you bring your character to life.
Love that. What about for you, Tristan? What challenges did Reggie throw at you?
Did you see those abs in the last maze? Did you see what?
We did it. Took your shirt off. We get it, bro.
No, I'm just saying. Did you see? No. Reggie, and it's not even just the physicality, which is definitely something that Reggie will just throw at you, but it's I think I'm just echoing what O'Shea said. He's somebody who kind of sees the inner greatness in you. And, you get on set and you can be in your own head, you could be in your own ego and know how great you are, et cetera, and you'll work at your baseline greatness. Reggie, every single day, challenges you to show up even higher. Oh, that was nice. Do it again. I need you here. I need you to be here. So that was, for me, even doing the monologue on the last maze of season 1, it was something that, every time we do I think we did it like 4 or 5 times. And every time I went out and I was like, okay, did you like that? And I got the words down. I was running them all night. Like, cool. You like it? He's like, I need more emotion. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's get it. Go back in there. And then I'm like, okay, you like that? He's like, come on, keep going. I'm like, okay. Once we got to that last one, and it felt like he was wringing the water out of a rag. He was like, we got it. Come on, let's get to the next thing. So yeah, he challenges you every single day to show up greater than you can even believe you are, because he knows you have it in you.
Love that. Orlando, what about for you? What challenges did Reggie throw at you?
Listen, Reggie's a menace, right? Reggie was the type dude to walk up behind you in the basketball court and be like, I bet you can't make that shot. I bet you can't make it right now. Reggie's just going to push you, right? I think everyone has said it so clearly. I think for me, first of all, I get a lot of space with Reggie. I feel like he almost doesn't say a lot. And when he does say something, it is very specific, and usually is trying to push you outside of your comfort zone, which, frankly, I think is often the right instinct. I think that was true on the first day when he was like, listen, why don't we do some stretching exercises while we do this first scene? He cut all of that out, but anybody in that classroom would tell you, I pretty much did a split. He cut all of that out. I want to be clear. Multiple splits in that room. Nobody saw it. Cut it all out. Said it was wonderful. Cut it all out. So the challenging of Reggie is often not just about I think it's often about just trying to get your mind into the mindset of the way he has sort of laid the journey of the character. And in that sense, he does a beautiful job with it, and it's the aside, it's the Are you in the gym? Are you in the gym? I am an adult. I was in the gym with these kids every day. Okay, they will attest to the fact that I was 100% in game, ready to go. I was not playing any basketball games. I probably did not need to be in the gym like that. But in order for all of us to sort of rise to the level of excellence that I think Reggie was pushing at, and the preparation that I think he brilliantly put in place so that we all had those things in our arsenal, those tools available to us. And so in that sense, I got to say, again, it's a magical job. And the time that I spent with these people is their family to me. So, you know, I have to thank Reg because, you know, we got that swag on. You'll see.
Yes,
Love
Lord.
that. Isaiah?
Definitely think from the start to finish, I mean, swagger alone, I didn't ever see that in the cards for me wearing Kevin Durant's growing up. And once I got there, made it to to set. Once I made it to set, I'm like, okay, I must know a little something. And Reggie was there, O'Shea was there, Shinelle, Mack, Orlando, Q was there to show me like, no, you're being called into this family and you still have so much to learn. Like, and when we first meet Jace, like I kind of grew with Jace that way. He wants to protect his mom. He wants to, you know, he wants to propel his family into a better lifestyle, into better living. And he has to trust his mom, which is the same thing I was kind of doing on, you know, in terms of acting and being on a part of Swagger, and say, okay, these people are here to help you. They're going to take you to the next level. And that was like, it happened gradually, but like vulnerability, the power of silence, because sometimes I get fired up and I want to talk. And you know, he showed me that I can do so much without saying anything. Constantly, the monologues, the memorization, you know, even on my basketball game as a basketball player, I had to get tighter. These dailies are going to Kevin Durant, you know, my favorite player in the game. So everything's got to be sharp. My handle, everything has to get better. And it got to a point where like I was just numb in there. You know, I was like, "What you need? All right, come on, let's go. Do it. We're gonna figure it out." And I just was extremely blessed to have Reggie constantly pushing me and telling me that I can do it and do everything. But you know, 10 free throws in a row. O'Shea, can you help me out? What else? What else was, I mean, we had May 7th, season 1. You know, he gave us a little free play. And you know, we had to execute. You know, if somebody gets hurt, you know, there was always a question of whether things were safe or not. There was so many questions in Swagger. I'm just blessed to have this ensemble for sure. And for sure.
Yeah, love it. Reggie, I want to go back to May's 205 and John's appearance in there, John Carlos, which made that episode, and just, you know, it's such an important moment, and it said so much about it. Talk about what, you know, capturing that and what you wanted to say with that moment.
Sure. So, you know, John Carlos was in the 1968 Olympics. He, along with Tommy Smith, stood on the podium during the national anthem, and they raised the Black Power fist in the air. And when we were working on the season, you know, we were really, really big in the research, and he was one of the people that we spoke with. just really looking at this season as what does it mean to be a champion? And we talked a lot with him about being a champion on the field and off the field. And by the way, even though they slammed me a little bit with the challenges that we bring forth to them, I think was also important because it's really easy to write us off as just a basketball show. There's like so much work and heart, and everyone came to set really understanding there was a cause bigger than ourselves. So in particular in 205 was just like a great opportunity to do that with John Carlos, who like sacrificed much of his career to make a statement, to stand up for what he felt was right. And so we went into 205 really wanting to just merge basketball with society and really just ask the question of like, just like so many things, like so many revelations of the fact that the number one place for people with mental illness are places of incarceration. We really wanted to bring a lot of that to the forefront. So it's like, how do you do that in a basketball show? And but we were determined to do it, and was only pulled it off because of this cast.
Yeah. I love the ending, season 2's ending with Jace and Crystal. They get to pursue their dreams. They are ultimately a team. Like, talk about getting that script and seeing Crystal and Jace and their ending and the next adventure, or the next chapter in their lives. Isaiah, do you want to start?
It really speaks to the culture, I feel like, for everybody, because they both realize how much of a privilege it is to have even gotten this far together. Like a lot of relationships, from middle school to seniors in high school, it's hard to last the test of time, but these two have kind of forged a path for themselves that, is set in stone, and they feel the most like themselves when they're with each other. And it was like playing that with Quvenzhané was a privilege in its own, because so much love and vulnerability and like honesty to tell each other like the journey is the destination. We still have more ground to cover, but look at where we are now. And this is an amazing feat.
Quvenzhané? Oh.
I think the most beautiful thing about Jace and Crystal is where it started, like where the seed started to grow, where the roots started to grow, where the watering happened, like watching them start from like making brownies together to trying to figure out where to go to college, where are we ending up, where does life take us, from it to start from so simple, to grow into vulnerability, to see them be there for each other in the worst times of their lives and still stick by each other and allow their foundation of friendship to outweigh everything else. No matter what situation they got going on, friendship is always going to be the core. They're always going to have each other's back. And I think that was the most beautiful thing of it all. Like, to be friends for so long and to support each other and cheer each other on. That's the most important thing when you see like friendships, Black love, everything, to see the support system that you can count on this person no matter what.
I love that. All right, I'm going to do one last question for everybody on the panel. Swagger, the experience of watching Swagger is it's so inspiring. Reggie, as you said, it's so much more than basketball. You use it as so much emotion around it when you do have it in there, but ultimately, you've got these incredible characters, strong Black characters, and inspiring. So I want to hear from each of you, and Orlando, I'm going to start with you. What was your experience like on Swagger? What was, like, in a sentence or two, like, what did you learn about yourself?
I think there was certainly a journey of understanding the importance of sitting still long enough to hear someone else's perspective, to see what they see and try and not be so focused on the circumstances that surround your own life. So I think for me, this group of people certainly, educated me, opened their arms up, and I think we all grew as artists through the process, and I think we all nurtured each other through the process, and I think that's kind of what you're hearing us all say. But for me, I think that was a special circumstance, and I think it's why I say it's a time I will not soon forget.
Love that. O'Shea, what about you? What did you learn about yourself from Swagger?
Swagger was my first time in a series. I've done films and other things where you're with people for a couple of months and then you're gone, and then you tell each other, yeah, I'll hit you up, but things don't necessarily happen that way. And with Swagger, I was able to, me and Ike are so one and the same. I was able to be myself while working a lot of the time. In the beginning, Ike is, becoming a new father, and I was going through those same things in my actual life. Before I was an actor, I was my little brother's basketball coach. So some of the same things that were happening in scenes I had already been through. But the best thing about Swagger, in my heart at least, is meeting the cast. I consider every single one of them a part of my family. I love my team. I love my players. Reggie, even though he gets on my nerves, that's always that's always Orlando, that's my dog. That he's my guy forever. Mac, I want you to get longer socks. You show up. But I love every single one of my castmates. I've never been so connected to a cast, and Swagger means so much to me, more than most of the projects that I've been on. And one thing that escaped us when we were talking about 205, I just want everybody out there to know that Reggie had me around real bees. Those were real bees, and I got an award for being around real bees. You told me I'd get an Emmy. Where's my? That's all I gotta say. I love Swagger. I love the cast. They're my new family.
The things you used to do for the job.
That bee stung me in the neck, for the record.
I got stung. I saw it.
Isaiah, what about you? What did you learn about yourself?
For sure, to have a cause bigger than yourself, and the power of silence. And with those two, I feel like also, vulnerability, vulnerability for sure. I can't can't lie, like a brother wasn't a little tough, of course, coming in there, you know what I'm saying? A little rough around the edges, trying to like be guarded. But Reggie, he just he made this story so brilliantly. He crafted this story so brilliantly and thoughtfully, and he put that into my character and everybody's characters and into the entire world and atmosphere of Swagger, and being able to show that for my people at home and for the world, it meant everything to me.
Oh, love it. Shinelle?
Yes, to have a cause bigger than yourself. I know so many times there's so much pushback for Swagger. And I was like, Reggie, how do you keep going? And he was just like, have a cause bigger than yourself, stay ignited. So I really appreciate Jenna, the character, where she just kept going. And I wasn't focused on all of my obstacles. I had my son and my daughter to look forward to.
Yeah. Tristan, what about you? What did you learn about yourself on Swagger?
Man, a lot actually. One of the biggest things was empathy. I think even looking at Alonzo, a lot of times the character, he is if we do have somebody like Alonzo in our life, he's the guy that you love to hate and you hate to love, and you to actually jump into his skin and kind of understand his cause that was bigger than himself, to start to build that up, even with Reggie, because Reggie is one of those guys who very early on, when I was very young in this game, him and Gina like taught me how to prepare characters. Just they would give you this booklet of like what your character has been through that week and this and that and music and just really helping you jump into the skin and the feeling of the character. So even early on, when I'm like, this is a guy that I know a lot of people's not gonna like. You once you actually start to kind of get into his skin, you start to realize like, okay, I understand why people don't like him, and he doesn't care that people don't like him, but he still moves through the world how he does. So I have a different empathy for people that I see in his archetype. And also, I think it's to be able to do this show with a cast that was about the same age that I was when I was on The Wire, and seeing them come up and seeing what everybody was kind of going through and where their minds were. And it just brought me back to a space that I was very, very glad that I had the Michael K. Williams, the Bengas, the Snoops, the Michael B. Jordans, the Idrises, all of these guys constantly around me to make sure that I understood not only what we're doing is real, that this acting, what we're doing is actually real, and challenging me as a kid to stand up, because this show ain't for no chumps. Like, you got to be real. I'm glad that I got that. So I was glad to be able to pass that down to Zay, to everybody on the cast, to Khalil, everybody. It was it felt like I got a chance to just give back, to do my give back. So that's everything that I learned about myself.
We get it, bro. It was on one of the greatest shows of all time. Hey, Mac, Jesus.
You know about my time on The Wire. It was
Oh, the giving back. We love it. Quvenzhané, what about for you? What did you learn about yourself?
I learned a good bit about myself, but one of the first things I learned about myself was just talking to Reggie. He gave me my passion back for acting. He gave me my drive and the belief in myself that I could even do it. Because when I auditioned for this, I was like, I don't play basketball. This isn't what I do. And I was also in a point in my life where I wasn't getting any roles. So I was like, this is just pointless. Like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. But I did it. I submitted the audition, and talking to Reggie right after that, he spoke life back into me and made me want to continue doing what I love. But also outside of that, basketball was hard, and I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. I didn't think I was going to be able to get on screen and be a role model and give young Black girls something to look up to. But Reggie challenged me with that. Both Reggie Bythewood and Reggie Wallis, the basketball trainer, they were on me constantly and pushed me. And I learned a lot about myself, that I don't really have limits as long as I push myself, as long as I don't put myself in a box. I can pretty much do anything, especially if Reggie is telling me, you're not gonna do it, huh? You gotta take that job. You know you can do the scene. You know you can do those push-ups.
Oh Lord, the challenge.
There's just no way. If I have someone, if I have me, I learned a lot about that with Crystal too, being a powerhouse that she was, getting through what she did. I could do about just about anything I put my mind to.
Oh, love it.
Youngest
Reggie.
Oscar nominee ever. I'm gonna hang up, bro. I'm so tired of this.
Hilarious.
Ensemble. Reggie, take it home. What did you learn about yourself on this show?
One, that, none of us do it alone. In fact, there are just some amazing cast members that aren't on the Zoom that we could not have done the show without. They've just elevated everything that was written. Speaking of written, the written word, amazing writers and just cast and crew. So none of us do it alone. I think the other thing is, sometimes like a show calls something of you, and I felt that, we started this show in 2019, then the pandemic hit. And so we obviously were dealing with the pandemic, and we were all, because we're human beings, we're dealing with the pandemic, we're dealing with the aftermath of George Floyd, we're dealing with all of this. And so it was almost like this moment called something else of us, which was to be a family and figure our way, navigate our way through this. And that's why it was so perfect that we called it a maze, because we were, again, for us and in the show, life's not a straight line. It has twists, turns, obstacles, and opportunities. So we say it's a maze. And so the show called something else from us. And I think that I learned that we all have the capability to meet it.
Congratulations to you all. Thank you for Swagger and the story. And for those watching, Swagger is now streaming on Apple TV Plus, all 2 seasons. And it's, if you haven't seen it, watch it. If you've seen it, revisit it now that you've heard this story. Thank you, everybody, for that incredible conversation. And thank you to SAG-AFTRA Foundation, of course, to Apple TV Plus, and to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jen.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.